Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's Ben Morales here, personal financial coach, and super happy to be back. I've been gone the last couple of weeks. I was dedicating a lot of time and energy to my daughter. She just got married just this Saturday, so I'm super excited about that. It was a beautiful, beautiful wedding, beautiful reception, all good stuff. So as I say, happy to be back. And I have this question for you. Have you ever found yourself at the end of the month and you realize, wow, I have more month left over than I do money. What am I going to do? Well, that's exactly how this particular client is feeling right now. They feel a lot of despair. I feel a lot of uncertainty as to how they're going to continue to make it, especially when the cash flow that they face right now is negative $510. So you hear that, obviously it makes you want to freak out, but don't despair. Not all hope is gone. We look at the liabilities, we look at the assets, and we find out exactly what we can tap into to get you positive just as quickly as we can. So if you felt that way before, this video is actually up your alley. Make sure that you watch to the end. So I'm going to be showing you the step-by-step way that we actually help this client out. So first thing we wanted to do is why negative 510 and 55? Well, simply their income, they're on a fixed income right now. It's $4,115. And right now, the expenses are rather high, $4,625.55. They got a lot of debt. And again, like I said, it's impacting negatively their cash flow. And what makes up their debt? Well, these are a list of other liabilities. It's mainly made up of some credit cards and some loans. And when you're on a fixed income, you know that every dollar is more crucial to you than ever before, right? You're already retired. You're on a fixed income. You need some help. You need some strategy. How am I going to fix this? That's what I'm here for. So now what we're going to do first of all is we need to find out what we could leverage to help you get positive in this particular situation. So as we looked at their debt, we also found out that they had some assets that were available to them. They had assets in the form of a 401k and a pension. Now, first thing we're going to do is how do we get rid of this credit card debt? Well, when we add all the credit card debt, the balance of the credit card debt is $6,446.43. That total in payments is $266. So that's a good thing because that's a good chunk of more than half of the negative in cash flow that they have right now. So that's a good chunk. It's going to get them closer to being zero and then obviously getting over that hump. What else do we have to work with? Well, we know that they have a 401k loan right now that's $6,103. And of that 401k loan, there's a $240 payment that's dedicated to that. So that's opportunity right there. We have two decent amounts that we're going to get us closer to being zero and then over to a positive cash flow. So what they've done since we started working together is they are going to be leveraging a 401k, which is one of the assets that they have, and a pension. These are, again, fixed income clients. These are the only assets that they have available right now. Don't have any, no longer savings, no longer anything liquid. So they're tapping into some other things that they do have left over. And the 54,100 is in the 401k, 17,958 is in a pension. So that means that a total of $72,058 is what they have in assets. But obviously, some of the assets or the portion of it is not going to be accessible. But what is accessible, that's what we're going to work our magic with and make this happen for them. So when we combine, I want you to see this. When we combine the $6,446.43 of their credit card debt, we can actually take that and pay it off utilizing the funds that she requested from her pension. The nice thing about that is she was already paid her taxes on it. So this is all pure cash now that she can use for whatever she needs. In this case, is going to be paying off the debt. So we're paying off $6,446.43. In addition to that, though, here's how we're going to leverage the 401k. When we use some of that $17,958 to pay off the $6,103 in the 401k, we're actually going to get additional cash flow back as well. When we do that, let's do the math here. We're going to get $12,549.43. Okay. So that is the immediate impact to the debt elimination. This debt is gone. And we also know that all this credit card debt is also being eliminated. So everything here is going sayonara. what else is happening? Well, because she no longer has this payment, that means that her expenses throughout the course of the month are actually going to go down, which is a positive thing. And that cash flow is going to start to creep up. How much is it creeping up? Let's do the math. Let's find out. We're going to add 266 of cash flow. We're going to add an additional 240 from the loan. So now we are at $506 that is getting added back. Let's do the increase here. You started with negative 1055. We're increasing positive cash flow $506. Now we are only down to negative $4.55. So we're moving right along to, we're going to get to that zero, and then we're going to go over that hump and get into the positive cash flow. That's the purpose of this video. We took $12,549.43, eliminated credit card debt. We do have some left over, right? We do have now left over $5,435.57 we have left over from that $17,958 that we could actually put to use for us. Well, where we're going to do that? Well, we are going to focus on one of these two remaining loans. And if on paper you look at it, you say, okay, there's one loan for $22,000, there's another loan for $20,000, right? Well, which one should we tackle first? Well, let's talk about what happened when we utilized that 401k, because once we paid off the 401k with the $6,103 being taken away, that $6,103 is actually added back to the balance of it. So we're talking about that 401k is now $60,000 becomes available, of which when a 401k, you can borrow up to 50% of that. So now she has $30,000 that she can tap in at borrow again. Now, when they did this loan, additionally, when they took this first 401k loan, it was in October of 2023. Well, interest rates are actually starting to creep down, which means she'll be able to borrow at a lower rate than what she previously borrowed when she first did this. So that's going to be a positive. But we're going to take a calculation a little later based off of 11%, just to be as realistic with our numbers as we can based on today's market rate. So what that's going to look like is, if we take the balance of the $5,435.57, apply it to this 20,000, what is that going to look like? Well, let's do that. 20,000, and we're going to deduct that. And what's going to be our balance left on that 401k loan, or rather on that upgrade loan? That's going to be $14,564.43. So this is the balance of the upgrade, of which, remember, when we paid off that 6103, now we have 30,000 accessible from the 401k. So we're simply going to take this 14,564. We're going to borrow from the 401k. When we borrow it, we're going to borrow it. Let's say we're going to borrow it at 11%, like we did the first time when they did it in October 2023. Chances are it's going to be lower. But in regardless, if we borrowed it at 11%, then we're going to have a payment for that 14,564 of $316.67, because that has to be paid back within a 5-year period. However, what has happened over here since we got back $440 that we no longer have to pay to upgrade, that actually is going to our cash flow. So we're going to add that $440 back. When we do that, our difference is going to be $435. And now we have a positive cash flow, right, of $435.45, but we're going to deduct the $316.67 that now is going to be on the new loan of the $14,564. That's still going to leave us with a positive cash flow. Well, how much is it? At least $118.78 positive. This we're able to do in a period of about 2 months. It just takes a couple of changes to how they were budgeting themselves and where they were leaving the cash flow to begin with. And once they start to leverage their credit card as well to pay off their daily expenses, they're going to be able to actually pay down this particular loan back to the 401k in a not quicker fashion, and then start to eliminate the last loan that they have left on their profile. So That is the steps, folks. This is how you can turn a negative and a despair situation, negative cash flow, into a positive cash flow, utilizing the assets that you already have and repositioning your cash flow to work for you instead of working for the bank. So I hope this makes a lot of sense to you. Put down in the comments if it did. What else would you like for me to cover for you on this channel? Be more than happy to do so. And again, I'm happy to be back after having a couple of weeks off, and looking forward to continue to bring content to you so you can learn and grow and build wealth for you and your family. So until the next video, take care and God bless.